everyone, it's Stephanie here and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be creating a card that was designed by design team member Amy, and I'm going to be using products from the new January 2018 release. So I have the Love You die and the Raving Raccoon stamp set, and we're going to create a word shaker card and have one of the little raccoon characters kind of sitting there beside the big Love You word once we have that finished. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some inking on a cardstock panel. So I have a white cardstock panel and I'm using distress ink here and going very quickly. I have this quite sped up. And I'm just adding some of this picked raspberry ink to this panel. Now I want it to be dark at the top and kind of fade into a lighter color as I go towards the bottom. So I'm applying more ink at the top and then I'm just kind of letting my blending tool make its way down without adding more ink as I get near the bottom. And then for the green area, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to concentrate the darkest color at the bottom and then just kind of blend that color up into the pink so that I have a nice transition and I don't have a really harsh line. I get a nice blend there. So once I have all of the ink on the panel, I'm going to do a little bit of water detail and ink. So I'm going to take some of that picked raspberry, the same color I used for the blending, and I'm just adding a little bit of this color to an acrylic block. And then I'm going to take some water and I'm going to mix that in with the ink just to kind of water it down a bit. And then I'm just going to flick that onto the panel. And it's just going to give me some little speckles of darker pink ink. And then I'm also going to add just some plain water as well, just to kind of give it a little bit of a distressed look. And then once that is finished, I'm just going to make sure it's really dry. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of this pink color to a separate cardstock panel. And what this is going to be is the background for the shaker card. So where we die cut the big, large love you words from the main panel, this is what's going to be in behind that. And we don't want a really white, stark base in behind the words just because it's really going to stand out and it's not going to blend with the front panel. So by adding this little bit of pink ink, it just helps to kind of pull everything together once we add the shaker part. So once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and set that aside so we can do a little bit of die cutting. So I'm going to take that large love you, and this is what we're going to die cut from the main panel. So I'm going to position this towards the left side of the panel, and I'm going to die cut this from there. And then I'm also going to trim down the second panel so it's slightly smaller so that when we add it to the back of this panel here, we're not going to have any overhang. So now I've die cut it and I'm just going to take out the insides of those letters because we are going to add those back in. And then I'm going to take a piece of acetate and that cardstock piece, and those are all of the elements that we need to create the shaker. Now there is a secondary sentiment on Amy's card, and rather than do what she did white heat embossing for that sentiment. I decided to stamp mine in black ink. I wanted to have it a little bit more bold on the background and just show a variation of having the white, which is what she did, and then the black, which is what I did. Once I had the sentiment stamped, I took my adhesive and added adhesive all the way around this back panel. I'm making sure to put it around all of the little pieces of the letters. And then I'm going to adhere that acetate piece directly over top. And that's going to create a little window through our letters, and it's going to help keep all of the sequins inside of there once we turn this into a shaker. Having the acetate is also really great for being able to add in the middle area of our letters because we have something to adhere them to. And I really like the look of the complete letter. I don't like having the open space where the middle is supposed to be and leaving it empty. So I always like to have those middle parts put back in. So now that I have all of that done, we are ready to create the shaker portion. And this is quite simple. You just need to add a bunch of foam adhesive to the back of the panel. And you can see here that I added a strip of foam adhesive in between the love and the U. And the reason I did that is because when we have the shaker pieces in there, when the card is standing up, I didn't want all of the sequins to fall down into the U and nothing be in the word love. So by adding that little strip in between, it kind of creates two different areas and it ensures that I still have sequins in the love part even when the card is standing. So I'm just kind of putting a bunch of these in. This is just a mix of different colors, and I'm making sure that I take out any large pieces that are too big for the shaker area. And then I'm going to remove all of that adhesive backing on the whole entire panel so that I can adhere that second panel that we had created right over top of this. So I'm just going to position this right over. It's going to be a little bit smaller because we did trim it down. And then I'm going to press down really firmly to make sure that this panel is fully adhered to all of that foam adhesive. Once I know it's fully secure, I can go ahead and flip it over, and now you can see we have all of these really fun sequins in behind that love you word. And because we added the pink detail on that panel, we don't have a lot of white showing, so it doesn't really stand out. Everything blends really nice together. Now to complete the card, I have a little image here. This is one of the raccoons from Raving Raccoons, and I've already die cut and colored that, so I just used some basic warm grays for the coloring and a little bit of darker pink colors for her bow and her shirt. And I'm just adhering her right beside the love you word to kind of make it look like she's sitting there in beside it. I also stamped, colored, and die cut the little flowers from the stamp set, and I'm just going to adhere those on the scene as well. So I have one right beside the raccoon, and I decided to put the other one on the other side of the word love you. And then that is going to complete our little scene, and we have this really great focal point where we have a large sentiment that is also a shaker, and then we have these nice secondary images and sentiment underneath with that word. So thank you so much to Amy for creating such a great card for us to recreate in today's video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in another video soon.